Good afternoon, everybody. How are you today? Great, excellent. Well, my name is Eluides Pagan, and I've been a fan since about 1975, so most of my life. And this is very exciting for me to be able to welcome our guest of honor, Mr. Sylvester McCoy, who you may know from some small show named Doctor Who, maybe some independent show from New Zealand by some hack director. I don't know. But if I can welcome Mr. Sylvester McCoy. Oh. So in case you didn't know,
I'm in The Hobbit.
He was in The Hobbit.
No, I'm still in it.
Oh, he's still in it.
Not past tense, it's still there. Howdy. Nice to see you all.
Come around this.
Have a seat. Do
Absolutely.
make yourself at home. Now, who's interviewing who? You're interviewing who? And I'm who he's interviewing. That's who. Wee. Hello.
Who's
Okay.
on first?
Who's on first? I don't know who's on second, and why is on third. Anyway, fire away. If you got questions,
Okay.
answer away.
Well, is this your first time out here in Minnesota?
No.
Nope. Oh, okay then. Well, that was quick and easy. How are you enjoying the weather so far?
Nope.
Nope. This is going to be so easy. Sophie promised me this was not going to be difficult, so
Sophie lied.
that I could absolutely believe now. No, I guess I need to throw something out there is the thing. We hear all these similar questions, but I don't think I've ever heard, so maybe people will be curious. As an actor, coming from Doctor Who and all the different things that you have done, have you ever been starstruck by anyone you've worked with?
Yeah, Ian McKellen hit me once.
That must have been quite fun. Okay. Oh Lord, now I'm lost here. Okay, so getting into Doctor Who, when you first tried out for the role, did you already have in mind what you wanted to do with the character, or was that something that just quickly evolved?
It evolved incredibly quickly. So what happened was that I hadn't seen Doctor Who for years, and some young people will not realize that when it first went out in Britain, there was no means of recording it. You couldn't see it. They only showed it once on a Saturday, and that was it. I'd watched Doctor Who in the 60s with Patrick Troughton, and then I became an actor, and I was always working on Saturdays, so I lost complete touch and was utterly and totally ignorant about Doctor Who, except for a very distant memory of Patrick Troughton, Doctor Who number 2. So they kind of just handed me the key. And by then the producer, John Nathan Turner, a lovely man and great support, very supportive, but he wanted to go off and do other things. So Andrew Cartmel, the script editor, he was Canadian, so he didn't know much about Doctor Who. I didn't know much about Doctor Who. We were given the key to the TARDIS and told to get on with it. And that, in a way, was a blessing, because we did not have any baggage or any past to either constrain us for the future. So we interpreted it the way we thought it should be then. Years later, Stephen Moffat told me once, we were in Australia. It was the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who, and we went to a restaurant, Japanese restaurant, and there was a bunch of us, and Stephen Moffat, the great producer, came in, and he was the producer, and he sat down, and this powerful man, and he sat there, and he sat next to me, and then he had a couple of drinks, and then he turned into a fanboy very quickly. And he told me in his fanboy situation that we, Andrew Cartmel and myself, changed the direction of Doctor Who. Now, we had no idea we were changing the direction because we had no idea what the direction was. But it turns out that we, he said that what we did was that we changed it from being it was more of a cartoon type Doctor thing. We said that's not a bad thing, that's what it was supposed to be. But he said you turned it and gave it more three-dimension. So I'm very proud of that. Although when I first arrived, I arrived as a cartoon character in a sense, because I arrived with comedy. But then I was learning that I'd been given one of these great roles, one of the great roles in television, and you could do anything with it. It was a canvas that you could paint any picture or do anything on it. And that excited me, and then we started to develop it slowly to make it more darker. I believed at the time that there was too much known about the Doctor. The mystery had gone, the question mark had gone. I brought in the question mark umbrella. The journey was to make him more mysterious, and also my grandmother, who lived to be 103 months. In those days, that was quite a long. That wasn't very normal for people to live that long. It's more normal now, thank goodness. I'm 103 at the moment, but anyway, I went to see her, and she had, compos mentis, but she was sad. She'd lived a long life. She'd seen terrible things, and I thought, I've got to bring that to my doctor. So that's how it developed.
Was there ever a certain point where you felt that you had the voice?
The voice? What do you mean by the voice?
That you felt
If I meant this
this-
voice,
This voice? What voice are you talking about? I mean, hello, I'm the Doctor.
well, no, you're not.
when you finally felt this is who the Doctor is?
I suppose. Yes, I suppose. Let me think. Where was it? There was one or two things where I felt, the Doctor had arrived, especially with the last season, really. The Dalek one was the Doctor, I think, had arrived then, but the Curse of Fenric. And I suppose in Survival, really. Yeah. Yeah.
The voice had arrived.
Hello, I'm here.
So a great thing to then have Big Finish to allow you to continue with that.
Oh
just
yeah,
as you had
no, it
finally
was
found
great.
that.
I also like being the Doctor when I was alone, because I felt that the loneliness of the man who's 950 years old or whatever age I was then, and he travelled through time and space and seen terrible things and seen wonderful things, but there was a sadness about him I want to bring out as well as the anger, the danger, the uncertainty. And so I managed to do that in the role coming into the one where Paul McGann, that ugly little Liverpudlian that took over. Anyway, I loved that part of my Doctor. And now and again they do a story in Big Finish where I go to that place.
Now, with Power of the Doctor, the scene between your Doctor and Ace, when you first read that in the interaction between the two, what was your impression of that?
I have no idea what they're talking about. I know what you're talking about, but it said something about us having fallen out, and I thought, I have no idea. I never knew that happened. But it turns out it was in a book. Someone wrote that bit that somehow Ace and I had fallen out. Or maybe it was Big Finish. No one's actually sure what the reason is. There was a bit in Big Finish where Ace had a boyfriend, and I think my character, Doctor Who, sent him off somewhere, and he got killed. And maybe that's where, I didn't even notice we'd fallen out. That's how arrogant my Doctor was.
I don't think they've actually had anything, at least I haven't read the further adventure ones, but with like Big Finish and those things that they claim are somewhat canon, they've never really directly stated what the falling out was, just that it had to do with the Doctor's continued manipulations and everything. So
No one told me.
yeah. So when it got to the Power of the Doctor, I know for me and quite a few friends that had discussed it just seemed like that moment where talking about letting go of your child to grow up on their own and everything. And that there was just something very powerful about that. And between the two of you in that scene just really seemed so real.
Good. It wasn't, but it was good. I'm glad you thought it was. No, it was just because, no, I just said the lines. Because, in fact, we weren't even together. Sophie was in a cave up in the mountains in Wales talking to a brick wall. And she didn't know the difference when she came to act with me. So, I mean, you know, it was like... So, and then I was lucky, though. I was in the studio when I did my bit, but Sophie happened to be around, so she fed the lines to me. So at least I had, you know, poor Sophie had to just do it to this brick wall in the mountain. But it was touching, yes, I suppose it was, really, yeah.
So from that and continue on with your career, some interesting things that I'm sure some people have seen is changes in character that may not have expected from you. For example, the owners.
Oh, right, yeah.
And turning into this villain.
Yeah, wasn't that fun?
So, how was that for you?
Great
to have
fun.
such a difference.
Well, I mean, it's always good fun. I mean, to change. And I suppose in a way my doctor changed from the beginning to the end. I mean, you know, and so continuously changing and reforming or surprising an audience, you know, by what you do is like one of the things I quite enjoy, really. So I don't get to do a villain very often. I have played him. There was another one I did very early on, which is called Beyond Fear, I think it was, where I played a villain. But that was for a new station that came to Britain, and the opening night was such chaos that they showed it and it was never seen again. That's out there somewhere in the ether. I played a villain there. But that he was a real villain who was still alive and in prison. So I hope I played him well, otherwise he might come out and murder me because they said I played him badly. I was playing him badly because he was a bad man. Bad man. Oh, that sounds like a guy. Another bad man I'm thinking about. Keep saying that. Bad man. Guess who I'm talking about? In our country, we call what he's called, we call it a fart. His child, they go, just as a little go, oh, the wee child's and a wee trump, oh, wee thing. Yes, did you know that? Trump is, in England, we call it a fart. It seems very appropriate, doesn't it? Because, I mean, he just farts about all over the place, talking out of his bottom all the time, really. Sorry, we're going into politics.
What was it like working for Rob Zombie
Oh, great.
and getting the role?
Yeah, well, that was terrific. I mean, he just phoned me up and asked me to do it, and I said yes. Although I had no idea who he was. And so I phoned my son, who knows about things, and I said to Sam, this guy, someone called Rob Zombie wants me to go to make a monster thing. And he went, you've got to do it, Dad. Rob Zombie, oh, he's amazing. He's a cult, kind of director in horror. And just think of all the conventions you can go to if you can go to a horror movie and all that kind of stuff. And also he's, heavy metal. So, oh really? So I watched one of his, concerts, and I enjoy heavy metal. I love it. It was great. I thought, oh wow, this is so exciting. And I thought I was getting so excited. I was going to Hungary. I was going to Budapest, and I would meet Rob Zombie, this wild, rocker, and this guy. We most likely throw televisions out of hotel rooms. Be drunk. Cocaine everywhere, wild madness. Turns out he was a vegan. I was so disappointed. I wanted something wild. He was the sweetest man you could ever meet.
Now, did it turn out in any way that he was a Doctor Who fan as well? Is that how, or just?
Yep, he was.
Aha.
He was a Doctor Who fan. So as was another fella called Peter Jackson. I'm in The Hobbit,
No idea.
Yeah, Peter Jackson was a Who fan. It was very interesting because I heard kind of rumors that he might have been, but nothing was ever spoken. And then on the 3 years we were filming over those 3 films, and then on the very last day, my last day, as he did with all the other actors when they did the last scene, he made a nice little speech and you know, gave you a little present and things like that. And I got my staff from the film and the seat that I sat in while I was waiting to act with Radagast on it and all that kind of nice little things like that. And then he said, you know, thank you, nice things. And then he turned to everyone in the studio and said, you know, it's been really great working with Sylvester McCoy, he said, because I got to work with Doctor Who! 3 years, and he kept it quiet. But he was a wise man because, you see, the status would have been different. If he'd have told me when I arrived, I'm a Doctor Who fan and I've got your costume and, oh, can I have your autograph? Oh, and all that kind of stuff, then the status would have been different. Because if he'd have said to me, Sylvester, would you move over there? I said, I don't think I should. Whereas he kept his mouth shut, and then so when he was the director, and he said, would you move over there? And I did, not knowing he was a Doctor Who fan. Do you know what I mean? That was... So he was a very wise man.
Now, is it true, or do you know if it was true, that there was the story that he had your costume?
Yes. I think I just said that, didn't I?
No? He actually had your costume.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, sorry, I had it, yes. Yes, he did, he had it. He's got my costume. When we first arrived there, I arrived with King Lear and Ian McKellen, big tall fella, you might have heard of him. And he was Lear and I was the Fool, and we played in Wellington. And Peter invited us to his house, all this cast, and his children had said he had the costume. They told me that secretly, and they were hoping he might arrive in it. But he didn't. He was very wise. He just kept it very quiet. So that's how I got the job.
Oh, that's amazing.
That and just seeing me in King Lear with Ian, because we worked together too quite well. Except when he hit me.
Except when he hit you. Very starstruck.
Yeah.
So, just out of curiosity, do you have any updates on the real McCoy? I've heard about that documentary film that's being made about you.
Oh, that, yeah. Well, no, it's kind of taking longer to do, really. We've done the recording and all that kind of stuff, but the technical side of it is taking a bit longer because they've got to go and research bits to fit in with it and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's a work in progress.
So has anything come up while doing it that, like in your memory suddenly, oh, I had forgotten about this, that just stands out? Or shocks you that, oh, I can't believe I did that?
No.
No.
I can't remember now. I did it a couple of last year sometime. I can't remember. I've done so much after. You do things and then immediately forget because there's not a lot of room in there, you know, and you've got to make room for the next adventure.
How did you move from where you were? Because going back to the Ken
Campbell, a road show.
How did you end up on that? From some of the things that seen in your biography of what you almost consider a normal, everyday, straight-laced kind of job, and suddenly you're on the road show and playing with ferrets and nails up the nose and things like this.
And big bombs on the chest, sitting like to my head, blowing fire. Well, what happened was I worked in the theatre, which is still, it was quite new then. It was a converted turntable for steam trains, you know, a covered building, a circular building called the Roundhouse. And they just started a theatre, and I worked in the box office there. And then there was another actor called Brian Murphy, who was quite famous in Britain, but his wife was assistant administrator at the Roundhouse. So when he wasn't working, he'd hang out at the Roundhouse, and I sold tickets and he'd collect them. And we used to just loon around, have fun together. And then one day this director came in called Ken Campbell and said, "Hey, Brian, some bleeper has let me down. I got this mad show. Do you know any mad young actors?" And Brian said, "That's the guy in the box office. He's out of his head." And so he came up to me and said, "Hey, do you want to join my show?" And I said, "Yes." And that was it. I became an actor.
So how did this lead into the ferrets and the...
Well, what happened was then I went to join the roadshow, and in the roadshow there was Dave Hill, Jane Wood, who are still around and still acting in Britain, and Bob Hoskins. You remember Bob Hoskins? There was Bob, and then there was Ken and myself, and we used to do kind of little sketches in pubs and in working men's clubs, and then we were asked to do a circus, and so we did a circus. We gave him some circus skills, and then I said to Ken, we should use those, and so it gave birth to An Evening with Sylvester McCoy, the Human Bomb. And the Sylvester came from a song, which I could sing for you if you want.
What do you guys think? Absolutely.
Have you heard about the big strong man who lived in a caravan? Have you heard about the Jeffrey Johnson fight when that great black American beat the white? You can bring all the heavyweights you got. We got a little man to beat the lot. He plays the organ in the belfry, and he wants to fight Jack Dempsey. That's my brother, Sylvester. What's he got? He's got a row of 40 medals on his chest. Big chest. Explored all the Arctic in his vest. He knows no rest. Big of the arm, strong of the punch. Hellfire, son of a gun. Don't push, just shove. Plenty of room for thee and me. He's got an arm as big as a leg. A lady's leg. And a punch that would sink a battleship. Big ship. It takes all the army and the navy to put the wind up. Sylvester. So that's where Sylvester came from. But the R was added later because I played Stan Laurel in a play twice. I played Stan Laurel, and it was about the late life. I mean, before Stan became famous, up until he became famous, and he was touring around America and not doing very well. And his name was Stan Jefferson. His girlfriend was an Australian, and she was into numerology, and she kind of worked out that his name, Stan Jefferson, was 13 letters. So they decided that that was not lucky. So they changed it to 14, and he changed his name to Stan Laurel. Or no, maybe not 14, but anyway, it stopped it being 13 letters. And of course, his career changed. He became, in his 30s, hugely famous. And so I was playing him, and then I thought, I wonder how many numbers. I'm not into all that stuff, but I'll count. Well, Sylvester McCoy was 13 letters, so we added the R, and I became Doctor Who.
Amazing.
Who knows? So that's what that came from. The McCoy bit, it's a really terrible joke. You don't suppose you want to hear it, do you? Yeah. I mean, it's up to you. I mean, it's your fault if, Okay, so I'll try and... I've just got to think. It's slightly complicated. So let me think. There's... Right, okay. So these guys are trying to join the army, and so they got to the recruiting officer, and the recruiting officer said, yeah, right, well, okay, what do you do in civilized civil society? And the guy says, oh, well, I was a cork soaker. And he said, I beg your pardon? A what? I was a cork soaker. A cork soaker? No, a cork soaker. What I did was I used to soak cork, and then I'd get the soft and put it in the bottles. I worked for, a wine cellar. All right, well, that's all right. You can join the army. The next one came up and said, so what did you do? And he said, I was a coke sacker. I beg your pardon? A coke sacker? A what? No. What I used to do is I used to get Coke and put it in sacks. I was a Coke sacker. Oh, a Coke sacker. All right, you can join the army. The third one came up and he said, I was a sock tucker. I beg your pardon? You what? I used to work in the draperies. I'd get the shapes of cardboard shapes of socks and tuck it into the sock. Oh, a sock tucker. All right, you can jump. And the last one came up and said, I was the real McCoy. You asked for it. I mean, don't blame me. It's your fault. But anyway, actually, that's where the name came from. Both. Ken Campbell came came up with the names and told me what inspired him. So, should we open up for questions?
Absolutely.
Anyone want any questions? All right, okay. We do. Aye.
Hello, I have a question from our online audience.
You got an online audience. Where are they? Can we see them? How online are they? Where are you? Who's speaking? Oh, there you are. Hello. How are you doing?
Very good.
Yeah. Okay.
This question is from Steve.
Hello, Steve.
What do you remember about the Twin Cities run of King Lear with the RSC?
All right, the Royal Shakespeare Company with Ian McKellen. Right, yes, no, we came to Minneapolis and we played at the big tin drum, the blue drum, beautiful theatre. It was great. Working with Ian was really interesting. He's a wonderful, brilliant actor, but we did this thing where in the play, the fool tries to tell the king that he's made a completely ridiculous decision to divide his kingdom between two daughters. And by doing that, he uses an egg. Shakespeare wrote this scene about an egg. So, and various different actors playing the fool would get the egg from somewhere, a rubber egg, take it from behind an ear, and all that kind of stuff. Now, as luck was having it, Ian decided to sit down before that scene. And so I thought, I know what I should do. I should get the egg and stick it underneath him before he sits down. And so when it gets to that bit, I say, pull him up and go, boop, boop, boop. He's laid an egg. So Shakespeare didn't write that bit. I did. So, but he actually had laid an egg because he, split his kingdom. So Trevor Nunn, the director, he loved that idea, and then but Ian didn't. Ian didn't really like it, but he had to do it because the director said it was good, and everyone else thought it was good. And so, but it wasn't his idea. So he, said, "Oh dear, there was a child. I didn't realize this." Oh, anyway, there was so he was. He didn't like the idea. We toured all over. We came to New York, and then when we were in New York, one night we did it, and I did the egg thing. I got him up, and there was no egg there, and I couldn't find the egg. And so suddenly he had it in his hand, and he went, "Are you looking for this?" And he threw it to me, and I was slightly discombobulated, so I missed it, and it bounced, and then I caught it, and I said, "Look, Uncle, the floor, 'tis made of rubber." And he went off the stage and said, "I'll never do that again." I thought, no, you won't. So let me come to you rather than you having to stand up. What would you like to ask?
I was going to ask about the King Lear role, but that's been taken care of. I would like to ask how much of that was impersonating Ken Dodd?
Not. The hair and the thing. Oh, no, funny that. Actually, I never thought of it. I mean, oh, hello. So, I'm sorry. Well, you're my enemy. Get away. Ken. I did work with Ken Dodd, and as you know, if you watch Doctor Who, which I'm in, and it was funny because Ken Dodd. I don't know if you know this, but he didn't pay his taxes. Do you know that story about Ken Dodd? Well, he's from Liverpool. And Liverpool is a very embracing place. I mean, all Liverpoolians look after each other. You've got to know that bit about the story. Anyway, suddenly the taxman came to call, and he had lots of money. He had it hidden he got paid cash because he was playing, places where they just paid cash, and he never defended it. So he had to go to court, and he asked to go to court in Liverpool. And of course, no one in Liverpool would find Ken Dodd. So he got away with it. He didn't pay any, it was great. No one found him guilty. So I was asked to do This Is Your Life, one of those programs where you come on. I don't know if you know it, you might have had it here, but sadly I couldn't do it. But if I had, I was going to come on in the TARDIS with a box with money kind of pouring out of it saying, "Hey Ken, you know that money you gave me to take to the planet Thal? Do you want it back?" But sadly, I couldn't do that. So that's my Ken Dodd story. But the King Lear was just, maybe. I mean, he obviously, people affect you. I mean, he's a brilliant comedian, so maybe oh, he says, oh, that's a funny thing. Anyway, hello.
Hi. What was it like?
I'm not. Hi. What's a dragon? That's beautiful, isn't it? Yeah.
What was it like getting bird poop put on your face for Radagast?
Yes, it was. Well, I mean, they had to get a seagull in every morning and go, and. No, really. No, it was quite all right, really. Later in the day, if you got a bit hungry, because it was made of porridge, so you. Hello.
Hello. When you were playing the fool, how did you decide how to play the fool? Like how much gravitas, how much comedy, particular other?
Well, yes. No, the full thing is really interesting because before, for years, when many wonderful actors played the fool, but none of them were funny. There was one of those things in the Royal Shakespeare Company. They only employ actors, really good actors, but they didn't have comedy bones. They weren't funny, and I kept thinking the fool's got to be funny. And so when I grabbed when they offered it to me, I grabbed it because I wanted to do that. And Trevor Nunn, we had once came in when we were performing for. In the RSC up in Stratford. And he came in once, he said, I've seen many fools, many times. And he said, but this is the funniest one I'd have ever seen. And I was very proud of that I could, because the fool is supposed to be funny, so you've got to see the funny side, because then the tragedy, because you see the tragic side as well, that has, the contrast is, makes it even more tragic. Do you know what I mean? So that was so important to me. So I'm very proud that I managed to achieve that. It was just, I don't know, I didn't do it intellectually. I'm not really an intellectual actor. I do it by instinct, so I say, this is where it'll be funny. This is where it's true. That's how I did it anyway. Cheers. Yeah. Pleasure. Hello, darling.
Is there any past or present villains that you wanted to go up against or something?
Oh, villains? Yes. Yeah. The Weeping Angels. Do you know those? Yeah, it's really scary. I was in Sweden. I was doing a signing in an English bookshop in Sweden, just outside the capital. And I came out one night. It was all dark, and there was a church, a big steeple, and there was a light shining up, and on the steeple there was an angel. And it just looked like the weeping angel. And I came out, and I was like this, and I thought, I mustn't blink. And I kept going, mustn't blink. I walked out into the middle of the road and nearly got run down by a car. So, do blink. Thank you for the question. Hello.
Hello. My question for you was, do you have a favorite episode from when you got to be Doctor Who?
Well, yeah, it's very difficult, really. They're difficult because I see it from a different angle. Like the Greatest Show in the Galaxy was such fun to make, so I really enjoyed doing that. No, go and sit down if you want. I'll come with you. I'll escort you to your all right. Oh, good. I want to make your husband jealous. So anyway, the Greatest Show in the Galaxy I really enjoyed doing, because that was great fun. I think, though, my favourite one would be the Dalek one, because it was about something really serious as well as being, kind of entertaining. I didn't realise you walked all that way back. Otherwise, it wouldn't bother. I'm exhausted now. So anyway, you want to ask a question, just put your hand up and I'll come over. So that'll save you walking.
What did you think about the Rani?
Not a lot. No, the Rani, Kate O'Mara. Kate O'Mara, when I did Doctor Who, it's new job, quite a big job. It's a bit nerve-wracking. Two good things. One was Bonnie Langford was in it, and I'd worked with Bonnie before. We'd been in the West End for a year in Benjamin Britten. No, it was what was it called? Oh, yes, The Pirates of Penzance by Gilbert and Sullivan, and so. I used to dance every night with her. We got married every night and twice on Saturdays. And it's funny because I reminded Bonnie of this recently, that we had to dance an old-fashioned waltz, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And she used to count it to me. And she would go, 1, 2, 3, ouch, 1, 2, 3, ouch. Come on. So I knew Bonnie, so that was good. Kate O'Mara was at the height of her fame at that time, but she was brilliant. She was, she could have been grand, but she was a real professional actress, really good actress. So I was blessed that she was like that. And of course, then I had to play the spoons on her. I mean, where that came from was we'd done the filming, the external filming of that particular story, and then afterwards the producer wanted to have a party. So we had the party, and Bonnie Langford, who was a great singer, did her knockout song, and I did my pathetic spoon playing. And the producer came up and said, "We've got to have that in Doctor Who." And I thought he was joking, but it wasn't. In the very first scene, I find something in an engine, it looks like spoons, and I get to play them on Kate O'Mara's front. And my God, did those spoons bounce. Well.
Hello, I am
Hello.
in queue for our online questions.
Could you translate that?
We have
I couldn't, because your lips, I couldn't see the...
we have an online question from
hello,
Liz.
online. I missed her online.
What did you think of the TARDIS design in Tales of the TARDIS?
Yeah? What did I think? Well, I mean, it looked like a TARDIS. I didn't realize we all had different TARDISes. I had no idea. Honestly, until about like a year or so ago, I just thought it was a TARDIS. And it's a blue box, it looks the same. I mean, the thing is that when they were built, when they were being used, I think some of them were bigger and some were smaller, but I had no idea that they were different. And I don't know what that episode was that you just mentioned. Online, Mr. Online.
Hello.
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 When I was a kid, the first episode I consciously remember watching is Paradise Towers. And from that point on, you became my doctor. And whenever any of those other jokers came on in reruns, I would just turn it off. I get mad. So, do you have a favorite doctor, or do you have any you turn off?
Loaded.
Palm again.
I don't turn him off. But he doesn't turn me on. Maybe he does you, I'm not sure. Anyway, yeah. Where's he gone? Anyway, well, there you are. My favourite doctor, I suppose, your first doctor is usually your favourite one, and my first doctor was Patrick Troughton. So I remember, first and only really, but so he was my doctor, so yeah. And I wouldn't say anything about all the others because they're all taller than me and they most likely go, look down on me, So anyway, cheers. Hello, I'll come to you if you want.
Of course.
Just want to make me feel small, don't you?
Of course you were with Sophie Aldred, but is there another of the Doctor's companions that you think it would be fun to act alongside?
Oh, yeah, I suppose, well, Leela, where it was kind of Doctor Who married to EastEnders. It was terrible. But they tried to do it in 3 dimensions. And it was a camera. They had this German camera, and the German camera had a wire attached to it, big long wire, but the camera had to move all the time in order to create the 3D effect. And so I was with Kate. Can I borrow you? Yes. So I was, yeah. So there was Kate and I were doing this scene, you see, and then the camera was going round us like this, had to keep moving. So the camera was going round like this, round like this, round like this, round like this. But attached to it was this long wire. So what was as we were doing the scene, we were getting pushed together closer and closer. And we ended up like this. So it was rather fun, really. I quite enjoyed that scene. So that was working with her, yes. The Daleks leaving. Exterminate. You have to exterminate someone. Oh, you want to... All right, okay.
As usual,
Not another question from someone in the ether.
In the ether.
Okay, hello, ether. Oh.
I have 2 different questions. The first one is from Eric.
Eric.
What on earth was Ghostlight about?
Yeah. Oh, is Eric? Can I see Eric? Can he see me on that camera? No? Someone answer me, technician? Hello, come in. So could someone switch one of the
Can,
technicians on?
They can see you.
Yeah, well, good. That's all I want to know, really. I'm waving. Hello, Eric. Listen, Eric. Gosh, you look like a zombie. No, kind of a robot. You don't know how you look. You look weird. Anyway, Eric, yes, I have no idea what it was about. So there we go. If anyone ever finds out, let me know. Although I thought it was rather good. But someone knew what it was about once, but I have no idea what it was about. Hello, Dalek. Second question. All right. Is there a second question?
I can't pronounce this person's name.
Hello, can't pronounce name.
What is your favorite song?
What's my favorite song? Have you heard about the big strong man? What's my favorite song? Well, it depends what day it is, really. You must remember this. A kiss is just a kiss. Did I sing that in one of the Doctor Who's? Yeah, I think maybe that might be it. By this person with wonderful but unpronounceable name.
So my question is, you've been in movies and on the stage and in TV, and I'm assuming there's subtleties in each way of acting, like different, you have to kind of change how you act. Is that something that you just have to figure out, or is it directing that helps you kind of know what's the difference, I guess? It's just interesting that you've done all three.
All right, okay. Well, yes, there is a difference. I mean, if we think about stage acting, in stage acting, you're, in a sense, painting with a big brush, because you're on a stage and there's an audience and you've got to get to the back wall, so you kind of have to be bigger, more, and you use your body more and you use this more, so that it can be. Whereas with film, it's more like painting with one of those little Japanese brushes. It's like it's internal, and it's you bring it all down, and it's only you don't do it for a long time. You just do it quickly, and then you cut, and then that kind of. TV, well, TV is now it's similar to film, because they tend just to use one camera now and two. But when I was doing it originally, we had 5 cameras, and I didn't really like that, because there'd be big cameras, say, all around here filming us now, and you would never know when they were doing a close-up. With film, the camera, they tell you what it's doing, but they're just grabbing it. Do you know what I mean? And so sometimes I remember I did an opera once, and I played Puck in Benjamin Britten's Midsummer Night's Dream, which is a beautiful piece, a wonderful, wonderful piece of opera. And but it was recorded by a director who'd only ever recorded rugby matches. And so his subtlety was completely out the window. And so when you were going, blah, the camera was down your throat, And then when you were doing subtle little, kind of visually things, the camera was way back then. So that was kind of not so much fun. But anyway, thank you for that. Thank you, Dalek, darling Dalek.
Is there a method that when you read a script that you become the character, or how different are you from the character that you play?
Well, yes, I mean, it does take over. As I say, I'm not an intellectual actor in a sense. I'm more instinctive. It's weird. Suddenly the character comes, just as you study it and do it. And in a way, there's also this thing of, a bit like especially on stage, when you first go out, you don't quite know where it's going to go. It's like walking off a cliff. You're going to know, you just step off and hope that you will fly. And so it's slightly scary, but also then most times you fly. Sometimes you fall flat on your face, but most times you fly. And it's just an instinct. I think, I was born a performer.
As was Ken Campbell, and you and Ken Campbell both went up for the part of the Seventh Doctor. So did you were trying to kind of get the part?
No, I didn't. Thank goodness, I had no idea Ken was up for the part. Otherwise, I'd have found it very difficult to do, because Ken kind of got me started in this amazing adventure of the life that I've had in this business, and it's all because of Ken Campbell. No, I had no idea that he was up for it. The thing was that John Nathan Turner wanted me, whereas the powers that be wanted Ken. So but John turned down Ken because he thought he'd frighten the children, which he would, because he's such an extraordinary performer.
But it's all kind of like that, you know. It's like, hello, I'm the doctor.
Bring me a Dalek, please. I want to be saved. So so that's how I got it, because he was. But it was only afterwards I learned that Ken was up for it, and he could have been a wonderful villain. He would have been really great at that. Yeah. Now, any other hands up? Oh, not that.
Back
I can't see you.
online.
Hello. Okay. What do you want to know?
This question is from Steve.
Steve. Hi, Steve.
Has Bonnie Langford told you anything about this season that's in production now?
No. Next question. Anyone else? Shall I go now? Oh, there's one. Good. Sorry, stay. No, you wait. I have to look up to you.
While filming Doctor Who, were you ever permitted to ad-lib any of the lines, or did you have to stay strict to the script?
Ask the directors. Ask the writers. Yeah, no, I ad-libbed a lot. Because when I was at the Ken Campbell Rock Show, there was lots of ad-libbing going on, improvisation. And so it was something that kind of I was stamped with, because that's how I learned. That was my school of acting. I never went to drama school. I just learned doing it on the stage in working men's clubs and in pubs. And so one of the blessings of that is that I have a very powerful voice. I can get to the back of the audience. And that was because working in a working man's club, we were on the stage there, and that was the bar at the back. And so the battle was, the noises was between the bar and you. You had to be powerful to be heard. And so I was very proud that when I was doing the Pirates of Penzance in Drury Lane, which is an ancient, wonderful, historic theatre in London, but it held 2,500 people. And it was built before there were microphones. Well, the others had microphones. I had a microphone, but they all told me they turned me down because I could be heard at the back. And that was, I didn't have to go to drama school to learn how to project my voice. I had to go in front of Working Men's Club, the hardest audiences in the world, and try and win them over. And that was the best way to learn. And I think it's the best way to learn acting, if you ever have the talent for acting, is to actually do it. The thing about going to drama school is, you learn little skills, sword fencing and things like that are handy. One thing you don't learn is microphone technique. What in drama school they didn't, maybe they do now, because Ken Campbell, who went to drama school, he said we don't, and so we had to learn microphone technique. Excuse me, I got a frog in my throat. And we had to study Frank Sinatra, the greatest, guy with a microphone, as ever it was. I did it my way, that kind of stuff. Oh, I got a tickle in my throat. Any water? Quick, is there a doctor in the house? Oh, yes, it's me. Cheers, thank you. Oh, yeah. Oh, splendid.
So, do you keep up on the show? Like, have you kept watching, and is there any way a character has played the Doctor that either you really liked or really felt didn't fit with what you think of the Doctor?
No, I can't be negative about them, really, because I think they all did their own different ways of interpreting it, and it was very good. I like Christopher Eccleston, because he brought that kind of working class thing, northern. There's a north on every planet, as he said. I liked his kind of down-to-earth thing. But no. And Jodie, I love Jodie. I think maybe the writing wasn't the best, some of the things, but I thought her energy when humor and was great. And she was lovely to work with. She was a delight. Hello.
Could you regale us with the story, the dead ferret skit?
The dead ferret skit. No, you're thinking of Monty Python. The dead parrot skit. No, I never had a dead ferret. What I did, yes, well, when we created, Ken and I created an evening with Sylvester McCoy, the human bomb, the idea was to use circus things, and we decided that my character would do stunts. I would lie on a bed of nails. I would have bricks broken on my chest. I would mentally combust cotton wool. I would nut a potato into 1,000 pieces. I would do all sorts of stunts. I would set light to my head. I would explode a bomb in my chest. I would blow fire. I would be chained up in mailbag and handcuffs and trying to break the world record also for having a ferret down my trousers. It wasn't a dead one. It was a live ferret. It'd have been safer if it had been dead. But I mean, I'm still all right. And I had 2 sons after that, so it was all right. You see, I had no deep problem by trying to break the world record for having a ferret down my trousers. Now, where that came from was Ken Campbell actually kept ferrets as a friend, and he wanted to invent a new stunt to bring to the stunt world. So we came up with this idea of, because he'd heard about a pub, someone who worked in a pub in Stoke-on-Trent in England, who tried to bet 10 shillings that he couldn't keep a ferret down his trousers, and he lost the bet. That was his inspiration of that story. And so I'm just so sorry. Can I help? Who used to
Exchange videos. I have the video of you singing about your last name, and she has a video of your first name.
All right. Okay.
Videos. I don't know. I
had a video of it.
I was taking pictures though.
I wanted the video of your first name. I forgot to record it.
Oh, all right. Come tomorrow and I'll re-sing it and you can film it. I won't bother when it's doing it again. I mean, my voice is gone. So what was I talking about? Ferrets. Oh, yes. So the ferret down the trousers. So we came up with this idea of doing it. We invented it. We invented this stunt. We were working in outside Liverpool in a place called Kirby, a real cowboy town, kind of, all the industry had gone and it was, broken windows and, stuff like that, tough place. But we did very well. But there was a newspaper followed us around, and the newspaper at the end published this thing, because we got paid by the Arts Council of Liverpool, so they funded us to go to this hard part of outside Liverpool to work, to entertain the poor people there. And so the headline was, "This might be fun, but is it art?" So they've been critical about it. So, and then described the ferret down the trousers stunt. And then overnight, people started sticking ferrets down their trousers all over Britain. It became a thing, and it suddenly became something that everyone thought had been invented way back in 1764. Do you know what I mean? That it was like people did it. It's, kind of and so it became a thing. And there were people on television with 25 ferrets down their trousers, and completely mad, completely. I mean, there was a secret pocket in my trousers. I was as safe as houses. Don't tell anyone. It's a secret between us. Keep it to yourself. But these other poor people were sticking real ones down their real trousers. And now they all speak like that.
Oh, excuse me, Sylvester. We're
What?
down to about 2 minutes.
Okay.
You worked closely with Andrew Cartmel. There's been rumors or stories about Andrew had a plan for the Doctor going forward. Were you part of that plan, and what was that plan?
Well, yes. I mean, when I first got Doctor Who, I decided, because Patrick Troughton had told Peter Davison only do three years, and I thought, if Patrick Troughton was my Doctor, and I'd only do 3 years. So then in the second year, they came to me and said, "Listen, we like what you're doing. We want to ask you to do a 4th year." And I thought, that wasn't the plan, to do a 4th year. And then they said, "Well, if you don't do a 4th year, we won't do a 3rd year." So I said, "Okay." You twist my arm, I'll do a 4th year. And then I got my head around it and thought I was really looking forward to it. So they asked me to do the 4th year. So the plan, Andrew started to plan what that would be. And I wasn't in the detail of that because the way it worked, nearer the time when we were going to start filming it, then I would have come and we would have discussed what it was, and I could have put in my tuppence worth, into what it could be like. So I know that the idea was, in a sense, to try and hint to the audience that the Doctor was more than just the Doctor. Along the lines of they may be part of the triumvirate that actually started the Gallifreyan Society. Do you know what I mean? There was that other layer of the onion. So there was another bigger, powerful, something more, kind of awesome, about him. But only hint that in the stories that would pop out now and again. That was vaguely all I knew about the journey. Without the detail of the stories, hadn't been written, or maybe they started. So that was it, really. Yeah. I recognize that country. I think I've been there since.
Hello. How you doing?
Fine.
Great. I was wondering which of the episodes has the most impact on your character during your run?
I don't know, really. You'd have to tell me. I mean, if you watched it, you could see the change. Because we did it all out of order in different places and all that kind of stuff. So it's very difficult to know, really. I suppose the Curse of Fenric might have been one where it started to get really darker. But maybe even The Greatest Show in the Galaxy. I can't remember, really. Sorry, I can't remember. It was 100 years ago. It feels like it now. Hello.
Hi.
I like my costume.
Yeah.
I wore that once.
I was going to ask you what your experience was working on Power of the Doctor.
Oh, great. That was with Jodie. That was really nice. I really enjoyed doing that. And it was wonderful that we were all brought back, really, because for years, Doctor Who fans wanted to see more Doctors working with other Doctors. And in the 50th anniversary, we were all very disappointed to find out that we weren't going to be in the 50th anniversary. So we made our own, which was a much better show than the 50th anniversary. And that was Peter Davidson. I mean, that was his. He did that wonderfully. So so when we were asked to do the Power of the Doctor, delighted to do it, and it's just and it worked so well. The response to us being in that has been so good all over, really. And my favourite bit was when Paul McGann decided that he wasn't going to wear a costume, and I said, "There's always one." In fact, he wasn't there when I said that. We were filmed out of sequence. I had no idea what I was talking about. Again, that's the only other thing about it. I have no idea what I was talking about half the time in that show. Anyway, I presume time must be up by now. And so, being a Time Lord, I'm always late. Anyway, I thank you very much, and have a nice day and evening, and I'll see you anon.
Sylvester McCoy.
Hold on.
Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm sorry I left you alone.
I'm okay. I'm used to it.